Ladies and gentlemen, pray silence, please, for the mother of the bride, Anita.
Okay, so I'd like to start by thanking you all for coming to celebrate Danny and Zach's special day. I'd also like to thank Tim and Lorraine for helping them make this such a perfect day.
Thank you.
In fact, there are many people that have helped in some way, and I know it's very much appreciated by Danny and Zach. I was actually really nervous about doing this, so I actually researched what is the typical father of the bride, mother of the bride speech. So we actually said, don't try to be funny, leave that to the best man.
Oh God.
Keep it really short, between 3 and 5 minutes, so you can all take a sigh of relief because I've took the advice. Okay? So, as you can probably tell, I'm generally overwhelmed, very proud, I actually feel today, and Danny looks simply breathtaking. I know I'm biased, but I'm sure you'll all agree. She looks absolutely amazing. But I've all got to say as well, I'm dapper and I'm absolutely smart. That looks too.
Take your top off.
So whilst it's my role today to give Danny away, I know I'm not losing a daughter, and I know everybody says that and it seems so lame, but I'm not. I'm actually genuinely gaining another son, which I'm really happy to do. So a little bit about Danny. So Danny has always been very adventurous. She's got an amazing zest for life. She's certainly given me a lot of worry with her dangerous travels over the years. From a quite young on, for her actually going off to nursing sick elephants overseas for a Duke of Edinburgh award, to backpacking on her own throughout New Zealand. Oh, before several trips to dangerous islands off the coast of Seychelles, then Honduras, and then most recently, Kenya. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So Danny was, and actually still is, my little princess. And even though everyone's, and even though it's really clear from the start that whilst I dressed her in gorgeous little pretty dresses, she was obviously a tomboy. She excelled at school, really did. I had nothing to ever worry about as a parent. You know, every school report was absolutely amazing. Extremely talented singer, an actress. Took the lead role in school productions, always a star of school concerts, and always naturally a star. And to be honest with you, Christmas wasn't even Christmas unless you'd actually gone to the Christmas concert. That made Christmas for many years, as Alex was saying. That made the Christmas concerts. But what people don't get is it actually didn't come naturally to Danny. She's always been very focused, and she's given her all, and she's worked extremely hard for all her achievements. It's not just been given, she's actually worked for them. She's passionate about her work and her love of nature. So when I first met Zach, I knew from the start that there was a perfect match. They have a great balance of a balance of shared passions, hobbies, whilst they have their own interests too, which is really, really important. They support each other through life's ups and downs, and last year has certainly been a very big challenge for them both. They've had the upheaval of actually moving back to the northwest from Lincoln, both starting new jobs, having to live between their parents' houses, which actually meant they ended up having to spend time apart, which is incredibly difficult, whilst trying to then find their first home, and then the stress of buying a new home, moving in together, and then of course the hardest thing of all, losing their beautiful dog Tia, which I know is all in our hearts today. Love you guys. And so I promised to keep this short, so I just want to leave you with my advice to you both is to never lose sight of what really matters. Always make time to properly listen to each other and try to always see each other's point of view. respect each other's individuality, and finally, always make time to show each other how much you mean to each other. So before I hand you over to Zach, I'd like you to all to raise your glasses and join me in a toast to the bride and groom, to Danny and Zach.
Danny and Zach!
Ladies and gentlemen, a response from your groom, Zach.
Hello. Am I turned on? Not yet, anyway.
I'm not doing my job already.
I'd like to start by asking a question. Do you consider yourself an optimist or a pessimist? Doesn't matter. Your glass is either half full or half empty, and the barber's getting lonely, so I'll try and keep this nice and short. Many of you have come from far and wide, and you've put in a lot of effort to get here. So, on behalf of my wife and I, I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming. It very much means a lot. Now, all of you are here because we wanted you here. Unfortunately, there were a few people that couldn't be here. Since Danny and I got together, we've lost my grandma Joan, sorry.
Keep going.
I caught eye contact, sorry. My grandma Joan and my grandpa John.
Yes,
Luckily, they gave us their blessing before they passed.
they did.
Where's your glass,
We
guys?
raise a glass.
It's grandpa.
Wait a second, it's coming. Not only did we lose those two, we'll turn this on.
Oh, look at it.
I'll use this one. Not only did we lose those two. Is that not working at all?
No, it's not working.
Just speak loudly, darling. Just speak loudly.
I'll speak loudly.
Yeah,
That's
it's
fine.
fine.
We'll go old
It's
school.
fine.
We unfortunately lost our beautiful dog Tia this year, which we just mentioned. She may not be a person, but she meant an awful lot to us. So, if you would indulge me, please, and raise your glasses to absent loved ones.
Absolutely.
It'll be all right for now. It'll be awkward. So today is a really lovely day because I get to thank so many people for being here and show people who I've become as a person. I'd like to thank my parents for raising me. I feel you've done a very wonderful job in raising me. And I've gained all of my mum's wonderful traits and many of my dad's not so wonderful. But for Danny and I, you are wonderful role models, and in 30 years, if we are as happy as you are today, we'll be very, very lucky indeed. Similarly today, I gain a wife, but I also gain an entire family. You guys have accepted me from the get-go. You've invited me to every house party, every birthday, and every special occasion, and I've always felt accepted with you guys. So thank you very much. Similarly, I've also gained, as Denisha has gained a son, I've gained another mother. And to be honest, you had pizza in the fridge from day one, so I was sold straight away. But of course, there is also the main event, the beautiful bride, and I hope all of you have all told her how beautiful she is today. I've told her almost every single day since I've met her, so I think my words today probably wouldn't have the same effect, so please help me out.
Amazing. Amazing.
Get him a rash, stop it.
I didn't marry her just because she's easy on the eyes, though. She's a wonderful person to be with. She is one of the most intelligent people, one of the most hardworking and most driven people I've ever met. It's incredibly amazing to be with you, and I'm proud of you every single day. So I can't wait to spend my rest of my life with you. I read that you shouldn't do this because it can be a bit uncomfortable, but I'd like everyone to raise a toast to the bride, please. So, to the bride. But how did we get here, Danny and I? Danny and I like birds. Many of you know that. That's like saying water is wet. Even if you didn't know, us walk around the room, everything is to do with birds. We met through an online Facebook group called Next Generation Birders that I helped to create. But for the sake of this story, they're not here, so I created Next Generation Birders. It was set up for young people of a similar sort of like-minded, shared interests to talk to young people to talk about birds. And that doesn't sound as cool as it actually is. From it, I gained my 3 groomsmen, my best man, and my wife. So I think I did pretty well at it. In the build-up to this wedding, I did 8 paintings, which are all your tables. What I'd like to do is to sort of show you all how Danny and I got from meeting to being engaged. I'd like to go around each table very briefly and talk about that bird and why it's significant. But as a little bit of added interest, I'd like you all to cheer when it is your table. So I hope you remember what table you sat at. I will start off with ptarmigan. Yeah, that's you. For the other ones, I'll help out because that was only okay. So Danny and I met. We went up to Scotland to see some of the specialities up there. And whilst up on Mount Cairngorm, we were watching ptarmigan.
Yeah! This was the first place that Danny and I had sort of spent any time together, and we realised there and then, watching these birds, that there was a bit of a connection there, rather than just sort of online flirting, which had always been going on even if we hadn't meant it. And that evening I plucked up a bit of courage, and whilst out for a meal with 5 of our friends, I asked the waitress to light a candle for Danny and I, which I'm sure wasn't awkward for 3 of the other people that were on the table with us. I had pizza and Danny had gnocchi.
Gnocchi.
I'm getting excited then, by the way.
Okay, next bird, the golden eagle, to help you out. Yeah. So after Scotland, I took Danny on the first date, and being a bird watcher, I took her to see a golden eagle. It was in Haweswater in the Lake District, and we saw the bird. It was about 5 miles away. I think it was raining, but we had a lovely walk and went back to Preston and watched a film and had pizza. By now, you gather I quite like pizza. Yeah, so it went well, which lead me to Black Red Star. Yay! So after this first date, it went well, and we became an actual fully fledged couple, and we had to start attending events together. We went to the British Bird Fair in Rutland, and this is the first time we'd sort of were identified as a couple, and everyone seemed to know who we were as Danny and Zach. So we felt like straight away we were already one, which was lovely. And on the way back, we stopped off in West Yorkshire to see a black red star at the reservoir. Now, I'd love to tell you why this is significant, but if I'm actually honest, I just wanted to paint a black red star. Little Bitten. Little Bitten. Danny and I love a holiday. The first holiday we went on was to Turkey, and we stayed at an all-inclusive holiday. And as every good all-inclusive holiday should have, it was next door to a sewage farm and a reed bed. To me, that's wonderful because there was lots of birds, and it was really nice.
And we went there every day.
We saw loads of lovely birds, but Little Bitten for us was a highlight because it's a bird we tried to see quite a lot of times in the UK.
And the reason that is significant specifically is because when Danny is tired, sad, grumpy, she makes a noise that is remarkably similar to a singing. No, I will not do another.
No, I'm not doing it. No, you don't.
Ask me later when I'm a bit drunk. Okay, I'll move on then. Turtle Dove. So whilst we were a fully veg couple, we very quickly moved in together. We moved to a little village in Lincolnshire called Old Bolingbroke. And if you've never heard of that, that's because it's a little village in Lincolnshire called Old Bolingbroke. It was a tiny house, but this is where we got our dog Tia. We learned how to live together. We learned how to be a living couple. And I think I learned how to be a man in Lincolnshire. And of course, that's why I decided I wanted to marry Danny, so it's very significant. Turtle doves are getting rarer and rarer to see in the UK, and there were at least 3 birds singing in the village. So for us, that was very special. But if you've seen Home Alone 2, there is a Duncan's toy chest reference to turtle doves, which if you have seen the film, I think that is appropriate. Yeah. But as no one's made any noise, that's not appropriate.
I remember.
Thank you. Storm Petrel. As bird watchers, we like to collect things and list things. Every young birder that I know wants to see 300 species as a milestone in the UK. And I'm sure everyone in here does know their 300th bird if they have seen them. For me, it was cream-coloured corsair. Don't dare. For Danny, it was Storm Petrel.
Richard's Bibbit.
Yeah. Shout them out, guys.
Long-billed Dowitcher.
See? Oh,
Any more?
Robin.
Sparrow.
Seagull.
That's it, just
classic. Great reed warbler.
You get a waffle. Come on.
Oh, we may have a winner.
the heckling.
So in 2017, it all sort of changed. As Anita said, I got a job in the northwest of England, so I had to move away from Danny. But very soon after we moved, we went on a holiday to Mallorca. And whilst it isn't a rare or necessarily impressive bird, we saw this wonderful great reed warbler, which hopefully I caught in my painting. But first thing in the morning, it was really cold, and you could see steam coming out of its mouth as it was singing. Which for us, that was an amazing moment, and we'll always remember that and cherish that from the trip.
And last one.
Finally, red-throated pipit.
Come on.
You've got a challenge now, Zach.
So, whilst it was the last bird I'll talk about, it was actually the very first bird Danny and I ever saw together. As I mentioned, we were very flirty together online, which has always been there. I've always seemed to be flirty with Danny from day one. But many of you who do know me, I'm actually quite a shy person. So when I very first met Danny, I went into my shell and I essentially ignored her, which took Danny aback a little bit. But then Scotland happened and it all seemed to go okay after that. But for me, that's where it all started because
Stockport.
it's where it all started.
Stockport.
So I thought that was significant. So I thought that would be a lovely place to take Danny to get engaged. And I think Danny sort of clocked on because she kind of thought I was taking her somewhere. She thought I was taking her to Scotland, where it all began for Danny. But instead I took her to a nettle-covered field in Stockport. But she said yes, and here we are today on the happiest day of my life, and hopefully Danny's as well.
Mine too.
Whilst I got you all to cheer to get you involved, it was actually a little bit of a test because there was a prize for the loudest cheer. And I'd like to let Danny choose who the loudest cheer was. You can pick yourself.
Amanda on her own.
It's got to go to Justin. I mean, easily.
So I've got a prize for you. We have. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. We've got selection of pizza vouchers. Finally, before I say, I just want to say one more thing before I finish. Before I hand over to my best man, I'd just like to say Johnny has been amazing through this whole thing. He planned my stag do to a T, like my dad's planned it as well, and he's been my best friend since I've pretty much met him. And although I love him, it's hard to know a pathological liar, so bear that in mind for his speech, please. Thank you very much.
Just give him that.
Do I go here?
Yeah.
You want to this time?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, all good.
All right.
1, 2, 1, 2. I am turned on.
Ladies and gentlemen, your best man, Johnny!
No pressure, Johnny. No pressure. Johnny.
Hi all, as they said, I'm Johnny, and despite appearances, I haven't walked up from the kids' table, and this isn't a lost child announcement. Although if you have seen my parents on their journey from Harrogate, if anyone could ask me if I could advance on my pocket money, it would really help me get the rounds in late. And also, if you can't hear me in the back, don't worry, the stone cold silence at the front featured obviously anything good. I'd just like to add to Anita's thanks to everyone who's involved with the day. A late one to 8-year-old Harrison over here, who you've probably seen running around with a camera. And speaking to Tim earlier, apparently he's taken upskirt shots of every single woman in the room, including Graham.
Go on, Harry.
So Zach and I were first thrust together on an organised birding tour around northern Norway. We shared a room for about a week in the snow and the minus temperatures, having never met each other before, and the photographer's just destroying the room. And I was really looking forward to meeting him. I always found it really easy to get on with people who've got a shared interest as me, but I'm sure Zach can attest that it only took boarding the plane just a few hours after first meeting in Manchester Airport to feel like we've been friends since childhood. And I don't envy the people on the plane around us because we spend most of the time playing bogeys and shouting and giggling. But by the end of the week, we had more inside jokes than Danny's had Facebook profile pictures. And I gained someone I now consider my absolute best friend. I'm not being melodramatic when I say that I now realise that until now, I hadn't known sort of full hilarity from a friendship, full on crying, rolling on the floor, not being able to breathe, sort of fits of laughter, until I met Zach. And I've yet to come across someone who can elicit a belly laugh in me the way he can just by pulling a facial expression. And I'm sure the main reason most of our subsequent birding trips have been so ornithologically bereft is the fact we scare most of the birds away with our laughter. But once I'd met the Hinchy clan, it became clear where Zach's overactive humour gland came from. And I'm probably preaching to the converted for most of you when I say that this family, they're seriously special. I don't want to explain that. And for about a year and a half after me and Zach met, it seemed like I spent almost every other weekend at Hinchy Hall, where the ale and the vodka and the chili con carne flowed freely. And Tim,
Great chili.
Tim and
Yeah,
Ray
it's good.
tried their best to expand my musical education. And you hear people say that home isn't a place, it's a feeling, and I really think that, and I found that feeling was almost never stronger than when I was sat on their sofa on an evening, often surrounded by more of their family than I have of my own family. And it's I consider Lorraine my mother from another brother. And speaking of brothers, I'd also like to take this chance to apologise to brother of the groom, Josh, for the fact that I think the first few times I met him, I did little else but sort of snort and
Really?
snort and shiver with glee just from his noises and facial expressions, and he probably thinks I lack cognitive thought for the first year of knowing him. And he probably still thinks that now after this speech. But Danny, I'm sure I don't need to tell you that, but becoming one with the Hinchcliffes is a recipe for finding new grin muscles that you never knew you had, and I wish you well with that.
Yeah.
Although I know Danny isn't a stranger to a laugh. I've had the utmost privilege of knowing Danny for the last 3 years almost, and seriously, a more impassioned, headstrong and selfless girl is hard to find. Almost as hard to find as Danny herself, who seems to spend every other week in the rainforest or collecting zebra dung off the African savannah, or in any number of bars across the English Northwest. And if you really want to laugh, ask her about the low-hanging fruit giraffe incident recently. And yeah, whatever you think of her poop-picking career at current, there's no doubt that she really can choose a husband. I'm not here just to compliment Zach, of course, as his best man-child. I'm also here to embarrass him.
Oh yes, come on.
In front of his nearest and dearest and true human love. I now think his heart may actually lie with pizza. But since I first met Zach in his 20s, I really did miss out on, I guess, rather a few long years of doubtless awkward, awful encounters that I just assume Zach had in his younger years, being the kind of person I know he is. But I'll briefly touch on a very recent time when I sort of saw Zach at what I consider his lowest.
Oh, yes.
And that was 2 months ago on his stag night. Following in the footsteps of Scott over on, what's your table again? Turtle Dove. Who pioneered a very subtle mix of seabirds and alcohol for his stag do about 2 years ago. The 6 of us found ourselves in Funchal on the island of Madeira, following the music and the calling Curry Shearwaters on a Friday into the town's old streets and bars. And I'll miss out the gruesome details, but if we fast forward about several hours, lots of lager, vodka, Madeiran spirit called poncha, a bar called the Rum Factory, a quick dip in the harbour, 2 very accommodating Italian lasses. We stumbled back to our hotel finally. Scott had lost his phone, ripped the buttons of his shirt off, I think that was me. And I was sporting a really lovely black eye. And we came to the hotel balcony to find Zach sprawled out in the swing chair, clad in nothing more than a vest top, a soiled hoodie, and a purple wig, fast asleep with an enormous rubber seagull mask draped over his shoulder, and the pillars of the swing chair soaked in, well, it wasn't beer. Well, it was beer at one point. And needless to say, he didn't go out birdie the next day.
Didn't do anything the next day.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd appreciate if you charge your glasses and be upstanding as well to join me in a toast to our gorgeous couple, Zach and Danny.
Do we sound?
It's been the biggest privilege seeing you two make each other just so happy these past few years. So please continue to love, laugh, and plan your next amazing adventures together. And Danny, keep that train spotting nonsense. To the bride and groom. Just before we finish, I'd like to end by wishing the young couple a very lovely honeymoon in Zach's old university town. I assume that's where they're going, because when I asked Zach his plans for after the wedding, he said he was going to bang her for a fortnight.
I Googled mine was supposed to be short.
Yeah, we can do.
Presents?
Okay. Shall I put the mic back on, or do you want to bring that one over?
No, I can do it if you want. Pass me the mic. You can have all your own things. You got them. Okay. So this is completely on the spot. I mean, I do public talks for a living, so I was hoping to avoid this, but I can't not give our wonderful set of parents just some little thank yous, if that's okay. You don't have to open them in front of everybody because, you know, they're just going to be charity shop jobs or something. Oh.
I wonder what that is.
So, yeah, just a big thank yous we couldn't have done today without the help of our wonderful parents. We do have to say that in everything that they do.
You've got new boobs.
And then also, there's some other key rules in today, and I haven't planned this speech, I'm completely winging it on the go. But I also have three very special, lovely ladies you might have spotted today. They've been dressed in green and they've looked absolutely stunning. So I'd just like to say a quick thank you to my bridesmaids. So I have two bridesmaids, I have one sat over here. She's such a lovely sofa. So just a little thank you to my bridesmaids there as well. Yeah, everyone just give them a cheer again. They're lovely. Just so you can grab them later.
I gave Johnny his present last night because we had a very
Sorry, Daddy.
because we had a very fun evening in Preston, having a lovely last drink with family before I made my own second family. But in the same vein, I also got my groomsmen some presents. So as a group, I'll give you this together when you can open it later. So you can pick it up in a bit.
Yes.
But yeah, to the groomsmen, they've been excellent, and I hope you all seem to have got in here okay. So you found your seats to do their job very well. So thank you very much, and give them a quick cheer, please.
So obviously the speeches are over now, but I just want to do one final thank you and just one final toast to the wonderful bride and groom. For going inside.